welcome back to the next session. Something I wanted to kind of point out here. Something I'm not really happy about, but I think I can resolve it. All right, let's take a look here. I'll show you what I'm talking about. It's okay, right? Okay, right in. Yeah, all right, here's a good example right here. You see this right here? You see that? It got very noisy. It's like it's like the animation is falling apart. The graphic is falling apart. I'm not really happy with this. Now, I'm not really sure whether or not this is a DE stop, which we talked about in previous sessions. I'm not really sure if this is a DE stop problem or if it's just a limitation of the Mandelbulb 3D rendering capabilities. But I don't like that. I don't like that. It's an interesting effect, but I don't really care for it. I don't care about this heavy dynamic fog here. And okay. Now keep in mind though that this was an anti-alias of 1, and I did not optimize for quality yet. This is a preview, and here it is again. It's like the fractal is kind of falling apart. Here we go, right in here. And what this tends to do is to give you this sparkly effect as you're animating through. I'll just show you, kind of watch this area right here, okay, as I play it back. You see how it kind of does a little sparkly, like this? Now we can play it backwards too with DJV. You see how it kind of does a little sparkly right in here, okay? Right in there like that. I don't like that. I don't like that. Now, there's a couple ways to handle that. You know, one, of course, is to go back and optimize your DE stop and other quality related. Now, that's easy enough to do without having to lose all of your keyframes. Because one thing I do want to talk about in subsequent sessions is this processing window here. Come on. Yeah. All right. You'll note here that we do have quality related settings. So at some point, now that I have my animation, I've got my moves, and say I'm happy with the moves, and I sort of am happy with the animation sequence, but now I could use this this animation processing window here to improve the quality. But we're not going to do that just right now. All right. So again, so I wanted to take a minute and point that out. Here we go. So here, let's just move it forward and go back again. You see how it kind of glistens. Okay, so I really don't want that. I want to try to resolve that. So what I have kind of in summary of this trial animation sequence. All right, I don't like the glistening. I think I can handle that. I really don't like the blue that is rippling down through my graphic. I can handle that too without redoing the keyframes. Okay. I had a speed difference, which I can handle in the video editor, or I could modify the step count of my rotate. I can also modify the step count of my other animation steps, so I can handle that too. All right, and I I think the dynamic fog is too intense right here, and I can handle that too without redoing the keyframe. So I think that the important point here is this, that you don't have to go back and redo the keyframes to address certain issues with your animation. All right, because I can improve the quality, I can improve the coloring, the blue moving around, I can improve the dynamic fog, all right, or the intensity of the dynamic fog. I can address all of those things by utilizing the animation processing's window and capabilities without redoing my keyframes, all right? And I think that that's important. I think that's important. I think that the general workflow of preparing a Mandelbulb 3D animation is that you want to get your graphic close, knowing that you can tweak it out later, but you still want to get it close, all right, up front. You want to get your lighting close up front. You want to get your coloring close up front. Then you do your keyframes, and then you can go in and you can optimize. And then you can tweak it out even more within the capabilities of your video editor. You want to be careful, though, that you don't expect your video editor to do more than it's designed to do. Like, for instance, would my video editor remove this glistening? No, not at all. I can modify the speed, I can slow it up, slow it down. There's a great deal that you can do with the animation, the movement. But once the graphic is baked in like that, your video editor is not going to be able to correct that for you. And this dynamic fog out here is just destroying so much detail way off in the distance. But it does have an interesting effect of kind of a glow, all right? But the dynamic fog is too much here. Okay, so the point I'm making is this. You want to get the graphic, the lighting, and the coloring close before you do all the keyframes, and then you do the keyframes, and then you can optimize the quality of your presentation after the fact using the capabilities of the Mandelbulb 3D software without having to redo your keyframes, and then you have a little bit more capability to finalize your project using your video editor, okay? But don't put too much stock in what your video editor can do, because if you don't have the graphic right, the video editor is not going to help you at all. All right? All right. So, well, this is how you learn. This is how you learn. And what I've found over time is basically this. The interesting phenomena of the Mandelbulb fractal art, okay? You don't really know what you have until you have it. You don't really know. I mean, I could be sitting here, I could be looking at a still, all right, just a still image of that, and that still image may be perfectly fine when it comes to like this glistening stuff here, all right, and I could tweak it out and I could have a grand old time with it, and I could make it look nice. When you put something into an animation, what's happening is that the frame ahead of a frame is impacting the next, and for instance, and you'll have something like that that may actually be dismissed as just part of the scene. But what happens is when you animate it, watch this area right here, it glistens, okay? So an animation is more sensitive to, what shall we say, visual artifacts than would be a still. But you don't know that until you have your animation. Then you find these things out. You want to go into the development of your animation, your keyframes, close in terms of the graphics, the lighting, and the coloring, and then you can tweak it out a little bit later once you have your animation sequence in place. Okay? All right, so that's enough for this session. I'll see you in the next session, and we will continue discussing Mandelbulb 3D software. All right, I'll see you there.